for a little bit and just to make sure that we are actually live. And I believe we are. So we'll go ahead and launch it here. We are live from Burley Corners in northern Penfield Township. I'm Mac McCullough with Willard Library with this week's installment of Stories at Sundown. And my guest this week is Justin Andert. Justin is a native of Battle Creek. A lot of natives do. But came back and saw a lot of opportunity in his hometown, and he is now the community manager for Second Muse. You may have known some of his creations from the past, Battle Creatures, which we can talk about, and Color the Creek. But his work is centered around storytelling and using communication channels to inspire entrepreneurs in Battle Creek. And if you don't know what all that means, then we're going to tell you tonight. Justin, welcome.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you on. Justin, you and I, we've met a few years ago, but, you and I don't know each other very well. So this is maybe one of our second conversation. We had one before we came on. Yes. Your story just resonates with me, especially the part about, going off into the world to follow, some kind of a dream and then finding that the grass was greener where you came from. So I just wanted to talk a little bit how you got to where you're at and what's your story.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks again for having me. And it's a pleasure to be here to talk about that. Like you said, I grew up in Battle Creek and kind of went away for college and moved away to Minneapolis, Minnesota for about 6 years. And I was really in and out of the community for about 10 years and mainly out of the community. And so, kind of life brought me back around 2014 now. So coming up on 7 years, I guess. And really just kind of came back as just a way to visit my parents, spend some time back in the community, see some old friends. And something in that time period really caught my attention about, what was going on here. And like you said, I really thought there was a lot of opportunity to help make some change and help bring the community into the future. So that was kind of the impetus of me sticking around here when I came back. And then pretty quickly got involved, especially in the creative world. Really seeing kind of a gap in the kind of art shows and anything culture related that I had really gotten really spoiled with in Minneapolis, having such a thriving art scene there. And so I really kind of was really interested in kind of living a bit more of a passion-filled life. So I, got into a career path I wasn't thrilled with in Minnesota. So I really made a sharp change to decide to uproot that and come back to Michigan. And then, like I said, really kind of found a passion for Battle Creek and really found a community of young artists, especially who were really pining to get their art out, get people to see it, get some feedback on it, things like that. And really we're able to create some community through some cool events through the Battle Creatures project that I started. And we're able to do things like pop-up art shows and music shows, and hosted like the first hip hop stage at the Lollapalooza Festival, and had an Instagram meetup, just ways to bring people together to either appreciate art or create art. And so, that was really the start of really getting really ingrained in that side of Battle Creek. And that kind of led to some future work with the Color the Creek Festival and things like that. So.
And for the viewers who aren't aware, although I can't imagine anybody isn't, but Color the Creek is the product. You see the product in the murals on the sides of vacant buildings around town. How did that germinate for you? Where did that come from?
So kind of like I said, I built this some track record of some events here in Battle Creek, and then did a bit of traveling. I think maybe 2016, and I was actually kind of out in Denver and saw the way they really transformed a neighborhood in that city with mural art especially. And I was just interested. I had was doing some photography around Battle Creek, and I had used kind of a blighted wall in downtown as a backdrop for a photo shoot that was supposed to look more blighted and edgy, things like that. And so really kind of was like, oh, great. That's kind of what I was looking for this photo shoot. But then every time after that, I would drive by and just see this wall and really kind of shake my head and be like, oh, got a dog.
There they are. We predicted it.
Yep.
We both have dogs, so no worries.
Yeah, for sure. So, but yeah, I really tried to, use art as a way to cover up some of the blight in downtown, especially in some of the neighboring neighborhoods. And so, yeah, I really was looking to, like I said, I was kind of driving by this wall over and over again, and I was like, that's really, it's right on the main street in downtown.
Yeah.
Like, why does it look like that? And so, just had, pretty quick conversation with a couple of the community leaders and folks, and kind of asked about what does it take to get a grant. I think I have an idea, and I was able to, get some support from the Battle Creek Community Foundation. They really were able to work with me to submit a grant proposal that was, kind of the pilot for that event, where we made a few different murals throughout downtown, which kind of the main one was the Sojourner Truth mural on Capitol Avenue, which was the wall that I was referring to that I kept looking and shaking my head about. So that really transformed a lot, and really kind of showed people the power of a mural. And so that was, really the launching pad, and was able to really keep the ball rolling and grow. And we're in a place now where hopefully this will be kind of the biggest year yet.
Yeah. And you made a conscious decision to make it a mix of local artists and then artists from around the state, around the country even, right?
Yeah, so I love the idea of, spotlighting our local artists and giving folks a chance to create and show what they can do. And but really this idea of, inspiring our youth, really looking to the future here. How can we show people what talent is out there? What's the different types of styles of art that are out there? And bring those things to Battle Creek. And so that was really kind of a two-pronged approach of trying to build some good momentum for the arts here. Yeah.
And so you were kind of an independent agent then, right? You were just kind of like coming up with these ideas and finding support for them, and established a real track record.
Yeah, definitely. So definitely it was kind of behind a lot of the efforts of the projects I was doing, and spent a lot of long nights and some moments of stress and sweat. But it kind of all has really come to, be a really positive, amazing thing that has helped, kind of provide a flashlight and a spotlight in the direction for me to go personally in my life. So,
yeah. And I want to pivot now to your work with Second Muse and Morning Light BC, but it just kind of occurs to me, even as you're talking, I mean, that's a parallel track to a lot of startups and entrepreneurs, right? It's about networking. It's about getting getting relationships built and producing something, right?
Yeah, exactly. So really that idea of kind of using, the assets that you do have around you to create what you can with what you have. And that was really always a big part of how I was able to accomplish what I was able to accomplish was, just to kind of jump off, put myself on a limb. But then, when things didn't go great, try to make sure I was always learning from those things. And that's really what an entrepreneur does as well as they get started. So there's really a parallel there.
Okay. Well, then before we pivot, you said when things aren't going great, I want to talk about the thing that didn't go great and what you learned from that.
I think there's a laundry list of just
we all have them, right?
Things I took on too much and was burned out and overwhelmed, or really took a financial loss on a thing I thought it was going to bring in a lot of revenue for some fundraising, things like that. So I just really learned that kind of the mixture of taking an idea and really putting it to action, but kind of really thinking about the idea and making sure that it is something, understanding your limitations and things like that have definitely been a big lesson for me over the years.
Yeah, I'll bet that a lot of folks who come to you with ideas, they're thinking of the world, and part of the challenge is to get them to focus, right?
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the kind of the spirit of an entrepreneur is that they're always seeing opportunity or looking for opportunity. And so what that can really do is kind of stretch people thin because they're trying to do too many things and, not focusing on getting really good at one or two things that can kind of take them to where they could probably handle to do some of those other ideas and hire people to take care of it, things like that.
Right. So let's go ahead and make that pivot. I've known about Second Muse, but I did some reading on it, and I'm fascinated by this idea of the economy of the future. What do you mean by that? What does Second Muse mean by that?
Yeah, so Second Muse kind of has a theory of change where like we exist as an organization to bring communities together and to build economies that benefit both people and protect the planet. So really looking at this more as like a relational economy and really focusing on kind of these micro economies, which is really what Battle Creek would probably be, is if we can kind of really focus on developing entrepreneurship, a really strong local business community here on top of what's already been here for years, which has been some really amazing local businesses. But yeah, just to be able to infuse the economy with all these new entrepreneurs and new ideas, new places to go, support local. I think that's going to be a huge piece of how we can create that economy of the future, a more resilient economy. Is really what we're looking to do. And what that means is really just the more players, the more people that we can kind of bring in to participate in the kind of mainstream economy, the more resilient it's going to be when things happen, like a shift in the marketplace or a pandemic, things like that.
Yeah. I mean, we've had some incubators in town over my 20-some years here.
Mm-hmm.
What makes Second Muse different from those?
Yeah, so we really use a cohort model that really, like you mentioned, really focuses on the community aspect of this work. And so something big about entrepreneurship is that a lot of times it is kind of a lonely road. You're either by yourself or with a partner, and you really do start to feel kind of like you're in a silo, or that, there's a large gap between you and the community. And so, really looking into how can we help bring folks together, especially disadvantaged folks that are looking to start businesses? How can we remove barriers, create resources, create access to networks and folks that can really help get a business really going, and maybe get it to where an entrepreneur can turn it into their main job instead of a side hustle or something like that.
Sure. Yeah. And reading, actually, this is national. I saved this question to the last in my script that I sent you, but let's jump in it now, because I look at the cities that Second Muse is at. The Albuquerque, New York, big places like that. The only place analogous, at least from the list, based on my knowledge, to Battle Creek would be Fort Wayne, perhaps. But even that, a little bit different. Why Battle Creek? Why do you think?
Yeah, so Second Muse really has this model of a community-sourced incubator. And so really, how can you use that, like, again, the assets that you have in the community to help build that community, that local business and entrepreneurship community, but also, provide things like mentorship, provide things that are going to help, expertise and maybe even access to a larger business in town. That's really the idea, is that we have folks that can do these things here, and we are just trying to build the ecosystem around that work, and make sure that we are creating paths to entrepreneurship for everyone, no matter where they are in the community.
Yeah, I would think those bigger towns, bigger cities that I mentioned, size equates with opportunities, at least at some level. But can working in a mid-sized city, let's call this, or a small city like this, does that afford some advantages that working in a larger swimming pool, if you will, or a bigger pond doesn't offer you?
Yeah, so Second Muse, this is Battle Creek's definitely a community that's a bit more of a blank canvas than a larger community might be in this work. So, big cities probably have programming like this. They probably have organizations locally that are providing different entrepreneurship programming. But yeah, we really have had gaps at times of what that existing here in Battle Creek. And so I think that's a really interesting challenge, and something that, we've been able to really tackle here is, making sure that, anyone that wants to start a business can. And so, looking to what the other locations that the Second Muse has other projects, and a lot of times they're really working in a specific sector. So like in New York, we're really focused on clean tech startups. So how can they bring back eco-friendly manufacturing for clean tech businesses and have that be something that can provide jobs in New York State and New York City? And so that's really the focus of that specific project. And we have some other ones that are really awesome as well. We have a project in Chicago that's actually expanding to DC called Get Cities, and that's actually really focused on getting more women into the tech field. And so that's really a way to kind of create networks in that way. But again, this would be kind of a specific sector and focused on really helping women in that case. And so in our case, we really want to help anyone that might be disadvantaged or marginalized. And that's what the focus of our work really is how can we help people that can't go and raise some money to start a business from friends and family, though sometimes those things don't exist for folks. And so we really create a diverse range of mechanisms to support people where they're at.
Yeah, I read that 60% of Second Muse companies are women and minority owned. So clearly that's not an accident.
No. Yeah, definitely not an accident. The economy of the future won't be any different if we don't bring everyone into the economy, and especially folks that are in the margins. Battle Creek is, almost half people of color, but sometimes you wouldn't notice that depending on where you are in downtown or in different areas throughout the city. And so how can you really create a community where everyone's participating? That's going to be what really helps build this resilience for our local economy.
Yeah. My colleague Stefan just chimed in with a hi to you and to me, which is a good reminder to our audience out there. If you have questions or just want to say hi, we love that. We just love that. And so, scrolling across the bottom, I think this is one of your latest cohorts in some sort of program that you're doing. You might explain that a little bit. But I'm just curious, maybe just throw out a couple of examples of some businesses that, or some startups or some entrepreneurs that, you kind of look at and say, yeah, I'm proud of that, proud of our role there.
Yeah. Well, I'm really proud of all the businesses through our programs. We have such a great mix of folks, and we have what we offer as an incubator program is kind of a mixture of programming. One is a 10-week program that's called Fast Track, and it's really a way to get a deep dive look into how to start a business. And it's really more for folks that are at an earlier stage, and it really geared to ideation stage. So people that really actually haven't made that first action towards their business. This is a great way to kind of really think through your business model, think through your idea, make sure you're not just kind of living on hopes and dreams, that this is actually something that can make money, and that you have an idea of how to make that money once you go and start to test it. And so, that's a really bit more of a crash course, business course, intensive 10-week course. And then we have what we call our launch cohort, which is for folks that are a little bit further along, people that have been out in the marketplace, tested their business, and really are just kind of looking to build some momentum, get going, move to that next stage of their business. And so that might be, like I mentioned, kind of taking an at-home business and maybe getting a location for it, or it might look like, expanding your operation so that you can, produce more product and things like that. And so what we do is really try to create these convenings with our cohorts where people can come together, kind of have this collective learning, get real-time feedback and workshopping ideas, and really kind of getting a mixture of expert attention. So we'll bring in technical assistant experts that are, work in different fields like accounting or law or marketing and things like that. And so people will get access here from these great folks, get get to connect with them one-on-one, and then also, like I said, really get this chance to connect with the other businesses in the cohort so that, they can really lean on each other as well. And so, it's hard to pick, but, we have had some amazing people that have come through with a pretty wide range of business ideas. So, Cafe Rica was already pretty far along with their BC Cargo, and they were already in their the kitchen at downtown before they found their space now. But they were kind of part of our inaugural program. So, obviously really proud of them. And Holmes Fitness, that was Cordell Holmes, who's a great trainer in town. He's been able to kind of go launch on his own out from being at the Y Center. He was kind of offering classes and had his own space at the Y, and now he's able to have his own spot and that he can call his own, which is really cool and awesome for him. And then just a lot of other folks that have started businesses. We got Jamila Mullins, a really amazing story. She's a massage therapist that really started her business about 6 months before COVID, and then kind of got hit with the, kind of the worst case scenario. It's, you had to stay away from people. And so there's not really a way to operate there. So she was really able to kind of keep things moving, and really proud of what she's been able to do. And, she's just a great advocate for Battle Creek and advocate for, really other small businesses. So those are things we love to see, and we love to, see some of the businesses we work with collaborate together, things like that. And so, those are success stories to me.
Yeah. And it really does sound like you're building community in the process. And that seems like a differentiator too from, not that community doesn't happen organically in incubators, but this is really intentional stuff. I mean, you're really putting people together and developing those cohorts in ways that I've not necessarily seen recently.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's really what we're hoping to do, and it's been really great to see the growth. And we know there's still a long way to go, but there's things that we've been able to work on where we're with the BC Cargo, that's really only a few years old. And so we kind of forget that some of those things didn't exist either. And so really just trying to build some of the more of that is really going to be an important piece of the future of our local business economy, especially for the retail sector and for food, things like that. We see a lot of folks that want to go through, start businesses in those areas. And so really need to provide more opportunities for them to kind of test and fail without, really having like a 2-year lease with a huge rent, payment each month. We need to find other ways to incubate these businesses. And so that the training in that community is one part of it, but really trying to look to the future of, how do we create some really cool things for Battle Creek and for the entrepreneurs.
Sure. We had one comment come in. How well you can read that. Limited education is a challenge to entrepreneurial development, but luckily entrepreneurs do not need to be well educated. They need to be precisely educated, meaning that they do not need to know how to build rockets. They need to know how to run a business. How does that sound to you?
Yeah, that's great. And thanks, Dave. Good to hear from you. And I agree. And that's really the thing is, running a business and being really good at making a thing are two very different things. And so, there really is kind of an art to it and a science to it. But and I think that was really something that I was interested in talking about in regards to the stories at Sundown theme. Was kind of a book that really inspired me in the past. Was this book called The Elements by Sir Ken Robinson. And so he actually had like the first viral TED talk, and it was really about finding, it was kind of a statement on how the school system, the way it's structured now, is killing creativity in our youth. And so, but to be a bit more positive about it, he actually created a book called The Element, which is about finding your passion. And so they really break down the difference between imagination and creativity, and then the fact that creativity isn't just something that associated with the arts. It's problem solving. It's thinking of a new way to do something. And that's really what entrepreneurship is. It's a response to what's out there in the marketplace. Someone that thinks I can do that better, or I can, do that just as well as someone else. So that's really an interesting take on what an entrepreneur is and what they need in terms of support and training and things like that. A lot of times it really is looking at, how do you look around to everything that you do have and make it into something awesome instead of, just thinking about all the things that you need or don't have. And so there really is a mindset portion of entrepreneurship that's a big piece of some of our programming.
Yeah. I had a question and you froze up and it distracted me, but you're back now. So cool. I wanted to ask you about, if I can get my head back where running the technology sometimes can be a little bit distracting when things aren't going well.
Yeah.
Well, let's just jump into, I know what it was, because I did take a shot at reading as much as I could from the element. And I thought that one of the cases, one takeaway for me was, in some ways it was dated because it's a pretty old book.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I think system-wise, I know a lot of great educators, a lot of great teachers, a lot of great administrators in our community and elsewhere.
Yeah.
So I don't mean to disparage folks, but systems do grind people down. And one of the points that he made was that, and this was early in the book, you ask a bunch of kindergartners, who in here is creative, and every hand goes up. Mm-hmm. And if you ask a bunch of young adults that, you'll get a smattering of hands. And I think the point was that we're all creative.
Yes.
I mean, we may not be Picassos, we may not be Hemingways or Burkes or, choose your favorite artist or author, but we're all creative. And tapping into that is kind of like the secret to that secret sauce to finding yourself in your element, so to speak.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's a big piece of things for me. And, for Color the Creek, we make all these murals, but some of the most creative things have been how our, a volunteer team has been able to make something happen that was a real challenge. And so one of the examples that comes to mind is a mural that we actually made last year under a kind of an underpass on the linear trail downtown across from the record box. It was just this wall that had been tagged and painted over a million times and things like that. And so worked with the city to get an amazing artist from Denver, Colorado, named Birdseed Anthony, to come and do a really amazing colorful piece down there. And but we needed to power wash the wall, and it was in this underpass, and there was no power, but then there was a river, and so we found like a sump pump and from our friend, and brought a generator down there and power washed this building with the water from the river, or power wash this wall with the water from the river. So I don't know. I just some of the creativity is definitely along the lines of problem solving and really looking at things through a new lens. And so really important part of building a business too.
Yeah, you know what you just said to me. I watched The Martian last night. I'd never seen the movie. I'd read the book years ago. Mm-hmm. And it kind of reminded me of this truism. I think it's a truism. There is a solution to everything. Absolutely everything. You may die trying to find it, but there is a solution out there.
Yes.
and it's just such an enlightening way to approach some of these really, what seem to be intractable problems. I mean, Battle Creek is a great town. Mm-hmm. But it has had, some challenges developing, real grassroots business in a sustainable way. But, you're taking a different approach. I wanted to ask you, and you touched on this a little bit, but how does the concept of justice inform your work? And you talked a little bit about access to opportunities that more privileged people have. But how does that really play out for you?
Yeah, so it really comes down to making sure that people are getting connected to resources, especially financial resources. Just knowing the wide gap that happens, and like I mentioned earlier, there's just this quite a few entrepreneurs that really just can't even get the funding they need to kind of test their idea in the minimum way they can. And so how can we make sure that we're really intentionally creating more access, especially for marginalized communities versus kind of running with the status quo and really trying to build the types of businesses that have been the norm in a lot of incubator programs in the past.
Yeah. So here's a real practical question. I have an idea.
Yeah.
That's all I have. I have an idea.
Okay.
Where do I go with it? What do I do first?
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, for Morning Light, we're looking to hear from anyone that's wanting to start a business in Battle Creek, and so we'd love for anyone to reach out to us through best way would be through our website, which is www.morninglightbc.com, and we'd love to have you schedule what we call a strategy session with us, which is an opportunity for us to get to know you a bit better, know what your idea is, where you're hoping to go with it, where your struggles are and what barriers might exist for you. And then we'll help try to get you connected to some initial resources and some, things that are going to help you look into your idea a bit more. And then what we'd really love is, to get folks engaged in our programming that I was talking about earlier. And so, that first step is really scheduling that strategy session with us. And we can get to know you a bit better.
So I'm an established, maybe late career person or a mid-career person, or I've started a successful business and I want to give back. Do you have a hard time finding mentors? Do you have a hard time finding folks who want to give that kind of time? And this is also a plug for anybody who thinks they might to look you up.
Yeah, so we're always looking for mentors. We have a great group of people in Battle Creek that are always willing to help, and it's usually the folks that are probably the busiest, but they're also the ones that were also guided by someone as well, so they understand the importance, and a lot of folks really have that giving nature with their time and energy. And so anyone that has time to answer an email every once in a while or pick up the phone once a month for someone, that would be amazing. We'd love to hear from you if you're interested in being a mentor. And we know tons of people have tons of different skills and passions in Battle Creek, so we'd love to hear about it, and because there's probably ways that you can help some of our budding entrepreneurs.
All right. And one more question, what are some of the things you're excited about as we move into 2021? As we're well into 2021, I guess. Boy, time flies.
Yeah.
What are you excited about?
Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of great things that are coming online here in the next couple of years. But really, in the short term, I'm just really excited that we can start to come together a bit more as a community. And part of the community building side of what we do at Morning Light is really trying to create opportunities for people to come together and convene, especially even kind of showcase style. So we did a really cool Shop Small Saturday event in November 2019. Was kind of a preview of the record box before it opened up, and some of the businesses in our initial cohorts were there and had a really awesome event and got people to move around downtown and go check out businesses, and that was really cool. So really trying to build off of some of those things like that, and so we got it derailed a bit with COVID, but we were able to, still do some things virtually and bring people together that way. But it's not the same. I feed off energy, and it's when there's a screen barrier, it's not quite the same. So I'm really looking forward to some of the great things happening downtown. We got a Torty Taco coming down, and New Holland, the work's still happening on that building, and really trying to build out what a really awesome experience down there. And then we have this new Washington Heights Entrepreneurial Fund, which I'm really excited to hear about. So folks with BCU and New Level Sports have a program starting for businesses that would be interested in either real estate or starting a business in the Washington Heights area. So it just seems like there's a lot of things they're coming to life, and I think maybe some of them might not have happened without COVID. So trying to look at some silver linings there, but really excited at getting out of the house and hopefully seeing everyone out and about.
We use that phrase on this show a lot, silver linings. I mean, the COVID was a terrible tragedy and a disaster in so many ways, but it has forced us to think differently. and do things differently, and to imagine differently. So which hardship often does. So
yeah, exactly. So
I just wanted to give you one more chance to just mention a couple of the local team members that you have. Because Second Muse is a huge organization, but we have more than just you.
Yeah, we have an amazing local team here. So, we work. I have an amazing colleague, Vanya Word V. Shout out to V. He's been part of the project since day one when Second Muse landed here in October 2018, actually, I think.
Yeah.
And so, really. She's been a huge piece and is an amazing community member, and has really used a lot of her expertise to benefit our program and the entrepreneurs we're working with. And then Jenny Mulholland from Battle Creek, she's our entrepreneur support specialist, and so she's an amazing local coach, and she's worked with the city. We're kind of working on developing a Burmese business hub, which will be hopefully an opportunity for aspiring business owners from that would be going to the Burma Center. That maybe they could get some programming at that location. So there's some really awesome things. But love my team, and we have some amazing local coaches like Kyra Wallace from the Urban League, Tiffany Blackman, who's an amazing local entrepreneur herself and consultant, and Valerie Burns, who is part of the city of Battle Creek small business team. We work a lot with the small business team at the city and John Hart, and so we get to see a lot of the great things that are happening. So like Eats BC was an amazing project that came to light because of their efforts, and then folks at the Northern Initiatives, which is the CDFI for the Small Business Loan Fund. We have some great partners there too. So we really have a big team here in Battle Creek. We have kind of our main team, and then all the great people that are already doing the work. So we're blessed to be a part of it.
Yeah. Well, looking forward to some great things in the near future and in the distant future too.
Thank you so much.
Justin, thank you so much for joining us on Stories of Sundown. Next week, folks, we have I am going to beg forgiveness if I mispronounce his name. I called Jose right before this to say, I don't know how to pronounce your name. Jose Oroso? He is the executive director of OSIS BC, and he is coming on. We have a couple of books that we're going to be talking about, and I'm really looking forward to that. And I hope you come back and join us. Justin, thank you again. And
thank you so much.
To all our viewers, thank you. And take care.